Hey everybody out there, you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan. I have my very lovely guest here sitting in the corner. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, it's Tasia Valenza, and I'm very happy to be here today.
And we're happy to have you, and I have to say that it's a very big pleasure to talk to you because I'm a big Metal Gear Solid fan. I'm sure we'll get into that eventually.
Oh, cool. I'm glad you like my work. That's awesome.
Oh, definitely. And now, obviously, I have to ask the sort of standard question because you got into, camera work, it seems like first. So I'm kind of curious, what made you want to become an actress? When did the spark appear?
Well, first of all, I like to call myself a recovering actress because, of course, once you're an actress, you're never fully recovered, but one day at a time. But I have to say that my parents were thespians. My mother was a singer, and my father was an actor before they went on, to do other things. But so I kind of had the bug very early on, and did every camp play and school play, and got to play Maria in West Side Story. By the time I was 11, so I was pretty much destined to go into the business, and I was lucky enough to grow up in New York City at the time, which allowed me to get into the business kind of in a Schwab's a pharmacy, which maybe people, the younger ones, don't know, but I had kind of like a Cinderella story, getting my first big job.
That's kind of neat, though.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I ended up being in a movie, just because they wrote the wrong age in an audition, and my mom went down, and I said, oh, take my picture, in case there's any extra work. And she went to the audition, and they had written the wrong age of the women, and they wanted a young girl, about my age. And my mother said, well, do you want someone like that? And 2 days later, I was auditioning with Sean Penn for a movie called Crackers, which was unfortunately not a great movie, but a really a great cast and a great director. I was flown. I went from New York City to Los Angeles, and they said, pack for 6 weeks, but you might be back in 2 days. And luckily, I got the part, and then I was on my way into show business.
Oh, wonderful. I always hear that the move to Los Angeles is kind of both a scary and a very intimidating one.
Yes, it was. I mean, luckily at the time, I just did the movie, and then I came back to New York and lived for another 3 or 4 years. I was born and raised in New York City, so of course that made it a lot easier than if I was, somewhere in the middle of the country. But then, I did All My Children after that for 3 years, which was a really fun part, and there's a lot of people that still remember me. I would say that's my most memorable character because, soap opera fans are legion. And then after that, I came out to Los Angeles, and I've been out here ever since. But I go back and forth.
It was kind of funny when we were actually doing the research for the roles you had been in. We were looking up All My Children, and my mom still watches it, actually. And I didn't realize it's up to something like 10,500 episodes or something ridiculous like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's been on forever. And amazingly, when I was on, it was a very popular time. I was lucky enough to be on during a period when, soaps were kind of at their highest. It was the same time as Luke and Laura, and I watched the show for 6 months before I was on it. So when I got the part, it wasn't just, getting a part. It was like, I'm going to Pine Valley. I was ecstatic beyond because I already knew the characters. So yeah, it's still going on. And ironically, my husband was Tad Martin, called Tad the Cat, and he's still on. And many of the characters that were actually on then have come back. So I don't know that I'll ever, go back to Pine Valley, but it would sure be fun to make a visit as my character.
Oh,
as a
of course.
matter of fact, that's the only acting I'd actually like to do on camera. As I said, I'm a recovering actress, and I love acting behind the camera. But that would be a fun one to go back just for a little while, like a week or two. That would be fun.
And I'm kind of curious, how did you find voice acting work? Did you stumble upon it, or did you want to try it, or how did that happen?
It was my mother. It was my lovely mother who said, you should do voiceover acting. You should do voiceover acting. And I said, it's too hard and it's too small and to get into. And, she, being the wonderful mother she was, she would not give up until I relented. And I was lucky enough to to do a small amount of it, and the more I did, the more I loved, and as my therapist said, my mental health seemed to be going up in proportion to the amount of voiceover work I was doing, and I was thinking, wow, this might really be more for me than this world of on-camera, which, of course, is a very tough business, and it was one of those wonderful, gentle 6 or 7 year progressions. And I got the opportunity to be on The Bold and the Beautiful for 12 weeks, and I thought, well, maybe I'll do, soap opera again and voiceover work, because I was doing a lot of voiceover work. And after the wonderful 12 weeks of saying the same line over and over again, which, of course, is very much part of soap opera, I realized I was done with the whole acting thing, and I thought it was a perfect time to bookend my career. And so I graciously and with a lot of gratitude thanked my agent, and I stopped on-camera acting and just went strictly into voiceover about 10 years ago, and I've never looked back.
Well, I can see the appeal of that, especially since you can go into work in your PJs.
I actually go into work in my closet, which is really super. I mean, 90% of my work is in my closet. So, I mean, how great can that be? I roll out of bed, put on some sweats, and boom. I'm at work, so it's a great gig, and it's one of I feel like it's Christmas on Sunday every day, because it's one of the funnest jobs in the world to do, and it's a nice way to still be able to act, but not to have to deal with the on-camera issues from aging and also makeup and hair and 12 hours on a set. You can do. Most animation sessions are 4 hours maximum, so they're very forgiving in that way.
And you can also essentially be anything, even things you couldn't really be in real life.
Absolutely. Oh, the spectrum of what I've gotten to do on camera is, it's very much limited to your age and your physical attributes and your your gender, and with voiceover, the sky's the limit, and it's just such a gift, because I've gotten to play so many fun parts, and I just feel so excited every time it's something like, oh, I've never done that before. I actually do promo work and commercial work as well, and I just I had my bucket list of things I'd always like to do, and I just got to be in the promos for Battle LA. I just got to be like the newscaster saying, meteors are landing on Mars, and I was like, oh, I love it. I love doing that. It was, it's just a silly line, but, it's something the white zone is for unloading of passengers only. As a voiceover artist, you always want to do, the news reporter, so it was great to check that off my bucket list. So it's a great job. It's a great job.
And now I'm kind of curious, because when you initially started voice acting work in, video games were something you also did. And at the time, video games were just barely introducing, voice acting at all. And I'm kind of curious, how has that grown from then to now?
Well, it's actually incredible, the amount of games. I mean, I would say I used to audition, maybe 10 to 1 series versus video games, and now it's the opposite. There's so many video games coming out, and it's such a huge, successful medium that it's really overtaken the cartoons and the movies, because there's it's a huge market, and of course the age range has changed so much that it's not just young kids anymore. It's I think the average is 30-year-old males, so it's amazing how many more opportunities there are, and also how advanced they are. I've been able to do some ongoing things that are pretty cool in terms of the audience it's going to reach, and I feel so lucky again, because some of them now are ongoing characters for these online worlds that are part of the industry that you couldn't even imagine, a video game that you can actually play online back and ongoing. So it's an amazing medium, and it's just getting more and more advanced and more fun.
And I want to say games with a cult following like Metal Gear and Dissidia and Batman, have you noticed how fans have react to your work or the games in general?
I would have to say it's pretty cool in terms of just sometimes you find out, like in Sniper Wolf, I've seen people dress up as my character, which is really very interesting. That that they take it to such a level that they love it. And of course, I grew up on Batman, so to be part of that, incredible franchise is just a gift, and it's very gratifying. I got to be Shaq T in Clone Wars, and I didn't know how popular that character was until it actually appeared, and I got some wonderful fan mail. So it's really fun when you don't know about a fan base, and then you find out that you're lucky enough to be in a world that people really respond to. So it's very nice.
Yes, the geekdom world kind of lives online and then at conventions, and they all kind of, take the dangerous journey into the sunlight to make it to the conventions.
Yes, exactly. I haven't been to any of the conventions yet, but I'm hoping to get to do an appearance with some group sometime, just because it would be fun to see, the fan base, because again, you work kind of in an isolated world. I mean, for games, you generally do go into a studio. You don't do it from your house, and it is nice to work with people, but you're still working in isolation compared to, actually going out and meeting the fans. So, I'm hoping one of these days I'll get to one of the bigger ones and get to sign some autographs and just get to meet, the fan base. That would be fun. So I'm just going to wait for the invitation. So if you know anybody, that wants to invite me, feel free. Let me know.
The convention world is a little bit dog eat dog. You really have to market yourself sometimes to be like, I'm available, invite me.
I know. I have to figure out that more. Again, I have, I'm a mother and I'm working and I'm a wife, and so, I'm trying to balance it all, and I don't always know exactly all the inroads to do, but I'm going to look into it more and find out one of the fun ones to do. And see if I can end up at one. But I haven't hooked myself into that world yet, so I'm gonna get some information and check it out more.
Now, I'm kind of curious for the geeks out there, because I know they want to know. Do you ever get the chance to, see your games in action after you're done recording? Do you ever play it yourself?
Honestly, I would love to answer yes, but my kids are just getting to the age where they're going to, they're really starting to get interested. So I have all these old, these old DVDs of games, and no, I have not played. I think I did, like early on Leisure Suit Larry. I got to play. I don't even know if you know Leisure Suit Larry.
I do.
One of the earliest games, right? So yeah, I did get to play a copy of that, but I have not. So because I don't have any of the accoutrement that is required. I don't have Xboxes or any of those things. So I'm saving them all for when my kids are allowed to play them. They're still pretty young, and then I figure they'll think Mom is extra cool, and that'll help me get through the years when they don't think I'm cool in general. So I'm hoping that's going to help me. So no, I have not seen my characters. I did get to see Shaq T, that was really fun to see in Clone Wars. So that was super cool. But I have yet to play. I actually think I wouldn't know how to figure it out. I'd have to have some kid show me how to use the game boxes. So one of these days I will.
If it makes you feel better, I keep trying to tell my mom how to turn on the computer to check her mail and then explain to her what I'm doing on the internet. But
that's right. Well, I'm more advanced than that, but I'm that. They talk about the digital immigrants versus the natives. And I'm a digital, immigrant. I learned how to use a computer in my adult life, and so the digital natives, the younger generation, it's they can dance circles around you. So it's my kids, again, are not old enough quite there, but already when I show them something, the way they pick it up is so much faster than I ever could. So I am blown away with the abilities of the digital natives versus the immigrants like myself.
Well, hopefully in the future you guys can maybe play together and bond a little bit.
Yes, yeah, playing my own characters, that would be super fun. So, and luckily the games I've done, they're not so they're pretty mainstream, so that'll be cool.
Definitely. And I think we're going to take a very short break here on 91.8 The Fan, but don't go anywhere. Our special guest isn't going anywhere. So keep it tuned to your favorite station.
This is a public service announcement. It has recently come to our attention that not wearing shirts causes Sassenach cancer, double herpes, and super diabetes. To prevent these made-up illnesses, 918 The Fan is distributing protective clothing specifically designed to protect you from hazardous materials through a patented process that we won't explain because you'll probably just be too stupid to understand this totally not fake or made-up science. To get your protective garments, simply head over to 918thefan.com and click on the apparel button under store. Remember, only 918 The Fan's protective shirts are 100% effective in protecting you from the radiation given off by death crystals and dysentery lasers. Don't settle for cheap imitations. It could cost you your life.
Hey everybody out there, you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan. My special guest is still here. Would you like to give us a sign of life?
Hi, it's Tasia Valenza again. Checking in. Yay!
Just in case, I've had some wonderful like beep beep moments as soon as we get back on air. So
yeah, no, it's good to know that we're still there versus the dead ring of silence.
Definitely. Yeah. And we were talking a little bit behind the scenes, basically prodding and asking if there were any projects that you had completed that you're able to talk about and tell the fans about.
Yes, well, I've been lucky enough to be asked back to reprise my role in Batman as Poison Ivy. So that's really cool that it's coming out, and I guess it was an extremely popular game and a really cool character. And even though I didn't get to play with the game, I actually got to see quite a bit of my character, and I thought that she was pretty rockin'. Like I said, I really would love to look a little bit like her, not so much, but she's pretty fantastically drawn.
Not the green skin. Maybe we could do without that.
Not the green skin, but the rockin' body. I'd love to have the rockin' body, but not going to happen in this lifetime.
I will say that was a really interesting character for me to see her, back in the series, because she had the sexiness, but kind of like I'm a villain, but not quite. You didn't know where exactly she was.
Right. Well, she's an interesting character because of the connection to her plants were, so sensual. She was, mother and yet she was this killer, but she really truly loved her plants like they were her children. So it was interesting to play that aspect of her as not just like a one-note, villain, but just someone who was, adamant about protecting her children.
And she was in pain a lot too in the beginning of the game, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, she needed to be released. She needed to be released and get out, and she was delighted to be freed and on her way to doing whatever darkness she was planning on doing.
Definitely. And obviously we don't want to get you in trouble, but I hope we hear you in the March 22nd release of Dissidia as well.
Yes, well, I was lucky enough to play Ultimecia, and hopefully I'll be back. I can't say much more than that,
yeah.
But I'm assuming it was coming out. It's coming out when? March 22nd?
Yeah, March 22nd, so it's in about a week.
Again, a very, very awesome part to play, and really excited to be part of a great franchise like that.
It must be really relaxing to get all that evilness out, and to play those sort of characters.
It is. Well, that's the great thing about, this world that, you get to express these fantastic characters, and there's almost a freedom in not having to be, on camera because, you're really literally just giving it all, but there's not that vulnerability, which, of course, sometimes you're on camera and you're really having to do it in front of, 80 people on a set and do it, 10 times, with voiceover. It's just you have a couple of people and you're expressing it, but because you're not having to get 20 different camera angles, you could just lay it all out there once or twice and have the fun of it, and then moving on.
And you can get anger out. That's I think the best.
Yeah.
Get
That's right. I mean, all these characters are very, strong women, and that's always fun to play because, of course, in real life it's not nearly as dramatic or as exciting, but there's that level of playing those, villainesses that you don't get to play in your real life. So it's a great outlet for it.
And for fans who want to know, any projects in the future that might come out, is there any place on the interwebs they can keep updated?
Yeah, well, I do have my regular website, TasiaValenza.com, and I'm also on Facebook where I have a fan page if anyone wants to like me, and I try to keep up, and Twitter too. I'm not as socially connected as I should be, but I am getting better, and I do post most things on my Facebook fan page, so I'm happy to let fans know what I'm doing and keep up on my projects, and I'm, again, delighted that I have fans that I don't even know about, so it's awesome.
Well, I admit, when I was exploring and stalking in a nice way on the internet, I did find your blog, and I absolutely loved, some of the entries, like the actor-agent conversation. Those were really funny, and
thank you. I thought it was. It's good to laugh at oneself, and I do try to blog just a little bit on, the experience of the voiceover world, because people are interested in. I actually just made a parody of myself because I'm known in the world of voiceovers for always having a hat, which is my branding, because I have many, many hats and I'm always wearing them. And I also think a voiceover is kind of a mysterious, where you get to be these characters and you're not exposed, visually. So I am going to put this little parody that I made of basically this kind of Gloria Swanson character, this diva, that someone comes to interview, and I talk about, the world of voiceover. So I like to make fun of myself, and I like to laugh at it because, it is a wonderful business, but, there's silliness in all of it. So if anyone wants to go to my website and hear my couple of blogs, and I'll be posting more as the time goes by.
Well, I can't wait for that, and I have to say that this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed you as a guest, but before we let you go, I'm curious if you'd like to participate in a 91.8 The Fan tradition.
Well, yeah, I love tradition, as long as it's,
It's safe.
It's safe. I was saying nothing that'll embarrass me 5 years from now. Lay it on me. What do we have to do?
Basically, we ask if you'd be willing to do a radio bump for us, and we do the recording live on air.
Sure.
Awesome. So obviously, if you mess up, everybody gets to hear you, but there's a million chances. So.
Okay. What do I have to say?
We basically ask if you could say, hello, my name is, you insert your name, I do this, insert what characters or maybe what sort of work you do, and you're tuned into 91.8 The Fan.
Okay, so you're tuned into, hi, I'm Tasia Valenza, and I played, what should I say? Just like I played.
Well, you have, you could say if you want to do characters like Poison Ivy and Ultimecia or...
Okay, I have played Ultimecia and Poison Ivy, and what's the wonderful byline?
And you're tuned into 91.8 The Fan.
And you are tuned into 98.1 The Fan. Okay,
91.8.
Well, there you go. Isn't that important that we got that one out of the way? Because 98.1, they wouldn't get you.
Yeah, that's the hardest one, are the numbers.
Okay, okay, so let's give it a try. So I just say, hey, I'm Tasia, and then go on with my characters and then say the line, right?
Yep, take one.
Okay, let's try one. Just go?
Yep, you're ready.
Okay, here we go. Take one. Hi, I'm Tasia Valenza, and I've played the characters Ultimecia and Poison Ivy and Sniper Wolf, and you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan.
See, perfect.
Wow, it's almost like I do voiceovers for a living.
That wasn't so hard. It was
No, that was my promo part of me. It's the promo girl. Luckily, the world of voiceovers, I always say I do everything but, kabuki, because it's a wonderful medium. So hopefully I did that part well, and thank you so much for having me on.
Not at all. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the listeners out there?
Just to keep an eye out, I have some more Star Wars projects that are coming out in the future, and I'm again, delighted to have a fan base. And if you want to, like me on my Facebook page, I'll be happy to, hear from you. And that's about it.
Well, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun, and I'm sure our listeners loved it too.
Great, and I hope to be on with you again sometime in the future.
Oh, we'd love it. And for anybody out there that missed any of this interview, don't fret. It'll be up on the website within the next few days. So keep it tuned to 91.8 The Fan. Everything you want and nothing you don't.